Thank you very much. I think it was Wednesday, we had a dinner with the President's Circle in Kolbo Shalom in the south. And as I went back home to Rishon, I lost my way, and I found myself in South Tel Aviv, and it looked like a deserted place with Sudan people around, and suddenly I wasn't sure where I was. Just to give you, and I'll do that very short before the panel, and then to show you how we deal with music at the university to change people's position and status, I'd like to very briefly present some of my idea on poverty that basically works on skills acquisition and the idea that rather than trying to decrease poverty, what we actually do is increase people's skills and capabilities, and once they find more option, more hope, more positive emotion, the change occur, and very soon we will show you how it happens. So the basic idea is that poverty is not a matter of how much money one has, but a way of life, a pattern of thinking, feeling, and coping, because we know that our population, the poor population, they don't plan for the long time. They also have low of self-confidence, self-efficacy, low of expectation. So we're not talking about a story that suddenly pretty woman gets money and become rich, but we're talking about the ability to see the other side of the picture and change or reverse our metaphor from seeing the old lady to seeing the young one, and I guess most of you are aware of these opposite figures. The circle I work with I work mainly with children and adolescents at risk, means that increase of positive affect result in increase in motivation for change, result in increase of efforts, in decrease of failures, and increase of success. And we have now many, many outcome studies showing that this is the way it works, and I don't have time and I don't want to look at it. I just want to give you an example of 3 projects where we started working with problematic children. We only mentioned their problems in order of getting money, because no one will give me money to help people feeling good or to increase their happiness. But while I call it decrease aggression, I get money. So the only time I use the problem is on the name of the project, but then I don't even mention it. And I'd like to give you the model, and the model means that adolescents, and we study sick, crisis, divorce, aggression, whatever you want. We ask the question, what can help this population develop some high level of subjective well-being? And we found 2 basic things. Self-control skills, which is my basic professional work over the last 30 years, and social support. So we can prove that even if one has a problem, positive affect can affect when we increase self-control skills and we increase social support. And actually, in one of the big studies among Arab adolescents who were exposed to violence in the family, we asked the question, what predict if those adolescents will be aggressive or they can develop happiness? And what we found is that adolescents who were exposed to violence, when they had lack of belonging, they develop hostility, anger, and aggression. However, once they had social skills, it helped to increase positive affect, and then they were happy and they were not aggressive anymore. So we started to see if we can actually make a change. And one of our first biggest project, which is now being applied all over Israel in all the schools, we train teachers and psychologists, and now they are in charge. The Ministry of Education adopted it. The first phase was at the university, at the School of Social work with students. Now it's all over, and I can't even touch it, because when I wanted to train or give lecture to this group of teachers, they told me, no, it belongs to the Ministry of Education, you can't come there. So we called it Empower Children and Adolescents, and what we did was trying to take the most aggressive children, who were usually also children with learning difficulties, children from low-income families, and what we tried to do was to train them to learn self-control skills, to change their way of thinking, but we did it as a course. We didn't call it therapy, we call it a course for learning to know yourself. And each child had to learn to find for research assignment and try to make some changes in his or her own life. And what we found, and I'm not going to focus on it, is that children who learn all kinds of warning signals to direct them in their behavior, of way to climb up and improve themselves, on how to draw, paint, make music, and change themselves. The main issue saw that while hostile thoughts, anger, and physical aggression leads to more physical aggression, once we impart them with positive affect and sense of belonging, they become happy. And it was a very big control study, national control study with the Ministry of Education, and we saw that aggression reduced among the research group once we impart them with self-control skills, while the control group didn't change. We also saw it according to teacher assessment that the course helped them reduce aggression and increase self-control skills. So the second stage, we asked ourselves, do we have to establish group to teach teachers how to teach children? Do we have to talk about how to control themselves, how to have positive affect, how to change their behavior? Or can we do it without words in some activities? So this is a work of our doctoral student who work with a Rashi Foundation and with several thousand of children. We ask teachers to assess the most aggressive children in the school, and we offer them extra hours of sport. We didn't do any therapy. The only thing we asked the sport teacher is to make sure that the child comes on time and to reinforce the child for coming. What we found is that changes sport necessitate lots of self-control, because children had to come in time, children had to play, children had to obey rules. So without directly teaching them self-control, being involved in self-control activity increased their self-control skills. And what we found is that change in self-control skills create change in positive emotion, create change in hostile emotion. And we found, and this is interesting, that there were two ways to create change. One was through decreasing the negative affect, increasing self-control linked to decreasing negative affect, decreasing anger, and decreasing physical aggression, but it also linked to increasing positive emotion and again, decrease of hostile thoughts. So the third thing I will just mention now, but after the panel we will hear and C is our most exciting, touching project, Sulamot, Music for Social Change. Sarah, the head of Sulamot, is here. Sarah, raise your hand. It's a joint venture of the School of Music. I, as someone from the School of Social Work, and the Israeli Philharmonic, what we do is we establish orchestra for children at risk. We are now working with more than 1,000 children all over Israel. Usually we come to institution, dormitory of children neglect and abuse, places where children were taken out of home by law, and we don't do any work. I'm in charge of supervising the children, the teachers if needed, and conduct the study, because we keep evaluate and seeing that aggression decreased, happiness increased. Sarah does all the important work of working with the children, and it's amazing to see children who cannot read and write suddenly read music notes. Children with learning difficulties who couldn't sit 20 minutes in class suddenly sit when we bring them here for an hour on the stage, play and play together. 2 months ago, we brought 50 children from 3 different places in Israel that had to learn to play together. They sat here, they play, they were wonderful. Today, we plan them to come and be here. We prepared everything. However, equal tests in mathematics all over Israel today meant that we can't take the children out of their schools, and after preparing everything, we weren't allowed to bring them. However, what we are going to do after the panel is showing you 2 things. We will show you a girl from Sulamot that presented at APAC in Washington and assessed as the best project in APAC. And Gideon knows about her because in some point we asked his help. She born without eyes. She's 12 years old. She was thrown, neglected when she was about a week old, and another foreign worker took her, raised her up. They have no rights here, but the minute she started playing, she got the harp to play in Sulamot, she started singing. And for Sarah, every child, she never gave up on every child. So she made sure she will learn how to sing. This girl presented in November in a conference I put on, and she was very shy to sing in front of 100 professionals, but in January she presented in front of 18,000 people in Washington, and you could see the change in her self-confidence, in her pride, and we strongly believe that children who get the chance, get the status, feel on a stage, feel differently. So what we will do today after the panel, we have a group of volunteer soldiers that their army service is to play with the children. They train them, they practice, and they don't have to take a mathematics test today. So after the short panel, they will join us on the stage, play and tell you about Sulamot, and next time the kids will be here, maybe we'll ask Manuel to do better planning in the parliament when they decided to have this equal test, because we couldn't have the children that had to be here. So I think I was privileged. You can see that when we measured the children in Sulamot, we saw that among the experiential group, all the children that play music, the positive affect increase. And in the years, we operate for 5 years, I think 6 years, and we see that aggression decrease. They need me less and less because they know more and more what to do there. This is a project from Neve Michael, a school where all the children were taken out of home because of being physically or sexually abused. Just a story about one of the girls from here, and this will be the end of my talk for today. She was taken out of home because they found that her father sexually abused her, and she came to this place and she didn't talk for 3 months. Psychologist, social worker, no one could make her talk. So we came to Neve Michael, we started our project, and we had a wonderful teacher there that forced her to sing. She didn't want to sing. 2 months later, when I came for Hanukkah celebration, she sang on the stage, and she said, when I sing, my word is purple, is pink. It's not anymore black, so I'd like to sing all the time. So we can see it, we can sense it, and we have outcome. This is from another conference at the university. You see that the kids wear shirts of the Philharmonic and the Tel Aviv University. So what I like to do now, before, Sarah, in 15 minutes you will be on the stage. I'd like, please, the screen to be up, and I'd like to ask all the panelists, Professor Heckman and Professor Trachtenberg and Edith and Gideon, to join me. Did I miss anyone? I didn't miss anyone.